Welcome to another episode of Podcast Name, where we dive into the fascinating world of language models and their innovations. Today, we're unpacking the intriguing concept of large concept models, or LCMs, which are revolutionizing how we approach language representation. First off, what are these large concept models? Imagine a model that doesn't just understand words and sentences, but actually grasps concepts on a deeper, more abstract level. Well, that's precisely what LCMs do. They operate on an explicit, higher-level semantic representation called a concept. What's really exciting is that these concepts are language and modality agnostic, meaning they aren't tethered to any specific language. This allows them to represent ideas that transcend linguistic boundaries. Speaking of languages, LCMs utilize a unique embedding space known as sonar, which supports up to 200 languages in text and 57 in speech. That's like having a multilingual toolkit at your disposal. Can you imagine the implications for global communication and understanding? Now let's get into the meat of the technology. The LCMs are built as sequence-to-sequence models in the concept space, specifically trained to predict sentences autoregressively. Essentially, they learn from a staggering dataset of 1.3 trillion tokens. This scale is monumental, and it opens many doors for applications ranging from translation to summarization. Here's a quick thought for our listeners. What do you think the impact of such models could be on our day-to-day communication? Could they become our companions in navigating the vast seas of information available online? Additionally, the implementation of LCMs involves various approaches, including MSE regression and diffusion-based generation models. It's like having various recipes in a cookbook, allowing researchers and developers to pick the best one for their needs. If you're eager to dive deep into this tech, there's a fairly hands-on aspect too. For those into the nuts and bolts of machine learning, setting up these models involves utilizing certain libraries, like FAIRSeq-2, which helps in managing the training environment. You can think of it as assembling a puzzle where each piece represents a different aspect of the model, from data preparation to the actual training process. And it gets even more interesting when we talk about fine-tuning these models. Imagine taking your pre-trained model and tailoring it to a specific task, just like customizing your favorite recipe for a special occasion. This means that LCMs can continually evolve and adapt to serve specific needs in the language processing domain. As we explore more, consider how we evaluate these models. With tools like Rouge to score outputs, researchers can ensure that these systems are not just performant, but also consistent in their results. Before we wrap up, let's reflect on a fascinating fact. The research around LCMs is still evolving with contributions from an extensive team of experts. If you found this discussion intriguing, it's worth keeping an eye on future developments and perhaps even contributing to the field. To sum it all up, large concept models are making waves in the realm of language modeling by understanding and operating in a higher semantic space. They promise to break down barriers in language and enhance how we communicate across cultures. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed this discussion, or if you have any burning questions, feel free to reach out. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning,